Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Top Billers Toolkit, where me and my twin brother interview recruiters from all around the globe to unlock the secrets to their success. Today's guest is Mary Kennedy. Mary is an expert at starting desks from scratch and hitting big numbers very quickly. She hit 300k in her first year from a new desk, 600k in her second, and now she started a brand new business and has already done 62k in fees in her first 5 weeks. In today's episode, we talk about how Mary builds a desk from scratch, how she gets results so quickly, and her exact BD method with video messages and cold calls. This is another great episode, guys. Mary gives a ton of tangible tips and tricks, and I hope you find value from it. As usual, grab a cuppa or a glass of wine, depending on when you're listening to this, and let's jump into it, shall we? Wait a second, guys. Quick question for you. If you could land a new client on LinkedIn in the next couple of weeks, how much would that be worth to you? 20, 30, maybe 40k? Well, we have a pretty crazy offer on right now. If you are a recruitment business owner, then we will work with you for free and write you 2 posts at absolutely no cost. And here's the cool part. Other recruiters that have come through this free trial have managed to win new clients. They've racked up hundreds of thousands of impressions and started conversations with top-tier candidates. It's completely risk-free, so you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. If you're interested, the link's in the description below. If not, no worries. We hope you enjoy the podcast. See you later. Mary, thank you so much for coming on Top Billers Toolkit today. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you both so much for having me.
Awesome.
Pleasure.
Let's just jump straight into the first question, which is, what is the number one tool in your toolkit, whether it be a mindset, strategy, or software?
So for me personally, I feel mindset is absolutely everything in recruitment. And that might come as a shock for some people I've worked with because I absolutely love new softwares, new technologies. I'm always that person that is on demos, trialing new tech. But I feel like without having the right mindset, you cannot really maximize your strategy or maximize the type of technology that you are using. And I'll give you an example. I know cadence and automation technology is kind of a hot topic right now. I feel that a lot of recruiters think they'll get a new tech in and overnight their desk is going to change. They can go from a 100k biller to a 500k biller overnight. When it takes a lot more work than that, you need to understand what works in your market, A/B test different messages, making sure you're getting your voice out, and that can take time. And I feel like that naturally does come back to mindset. For me, it's really trying to improve myself every single day, always trying to be better, always trying to beat who I was yesterday from a recruitment standpoint. And I feel like having that mindset, you can naturally maximize all the other tools in your toolkit. You can maximize your strategy, the type of technologies that you are using. Whereas if you don't have that mindset, I don't feel like you can get as much out of everything else.
Love that. Are there any foundational pillars that help you with your mindset, Mary? For me, it's like cold showers, gym, jujitsu, 15 minutes of a podcast, something that's going to improve my mindset.
Mhm.
I think those are the main things. Is there like foundational pillars that you have for mindset, or is it something else?
100%. So the gym for me, definitely. I do actually notice a huge difference. Mornings that I go to the gym in comparison to mornings that I don't.
Mm.
And I feel like for you to accomplish something, if you're up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you go to the gym, you've already accomplished something. I feel like you're proving to your mind that you can do anything because it's not easy
Mm.
getting up at 5 o'clock. So the gym is definitely a massive point for me. Um, so that, yeah, I would definitely say that's kind of my main go-to.
Awesome. Yeah, same with me. I completely agree. If you get up at 5, me, it's like 5:30 because my gym opens at 6. And you
Yeah.
walk out, you feel like you defeated a dragon, like before the day starts. You're like,
Yeah,
yes, let's go.
100%.
I'd love to get on to the second question because you have built a number of desks from scratch now successfully, Mary. I think you said that you built a desk from scratch, hit 300k in your first year, and then did 600k in the second year. So not only have you built a desk from scratch, but it sounds like you have a track record of getting your billing numbers high pretty quickly, like getting momentum pretty quickly, which is awesome. I'd love to let's imagine you're starting a desk from scratch again. And I know you're probably not going to be able to give I know it's hard to go through every single detail, but let's maybe focus on the main things here. When you start a brand new desk, what's the kind of first things that you would focus on to increase the likelihood of success?
Mhm. For me, I feel like recruitment, it's not just a job. I'm sure many other recruiters can relate to this. It becomes your whole life. You're spending 12 hours speaking to people about the specific industry. You go home, you're then speaking to your friends, your family about that industry. So I feel the first thing when building a new desk is making sure that you're going into the right space, the right industry, the right vertical, because again, it is going to become your life. And I think that's how I have been so successful in each of the desks that I have personally built, is becoming obsessed into what it is I do. And I've worked in some weird and wonderful industries. So I feel taking that time to understand what industry is right for yourself. And that can obviously be through research. We have AI now, which is great and a game changer. Didn't have that when I first started. But just speaking to as many people as possible and seeing what it is that you're passionate about, what you can become obsessed with. And I feel like that naturally helps you build out a strategy and get a much quicker runway in comparison to not knowing what you want to go into, not knowing what you're interested about and going to have a passion in. And that can feel a little bit messier. So, my best advice for anyone who is starting a new business or a new recruitment desk is make sure that you're in the right space. Actually, take that little bit of time before really charging into the industry and trying to dominate the space, that you are actually working within the right vertical.
So interesting. Um, yeah, whenever I speak to billers and like if I'm because I speak to quite a lot for the podcast, but also for our own business as well. And whenever they say they're a generalist, I almost instantly know they're struggling more than a specialist, a niche specialist. Like
Hmm.
almost, like I could say it with almost 100% confidence that if someone comes to me as a generalist, they're just not going to have the same level of success.
Yeah.
I know picking the right industry and the right sector is a tough. Or maybe it's easier than I think, but I don't know. What would be your advice on picking the right sector and or the right industry, Mary, to work
Mhm.
in? Do you think?
I feel like naturally you'll be directed to a certain like umbrella industry, dependent on if you're starting as a graduate, you'll be joining a recruitment firm that has specific disciplines. And you might get put into a certain sector, but be able to choose a specific vertical within to that. My best advice is don't just choose the vertical straight away. You want to make sure that you are set up for success. So again, it is speaking to many people as possible, knowing that you can pivot at the beginning, because once you do start to build your desk and you've got that momentum and have that success, you might not want to completely change exactly what it is that you are doing, but understanding other people's passion within the space. Do you relate to that passion? Then doing your own research on that. Is there enough jobs in that space? Are the fees going to be what you're looking at in that space? And once you have that interest, you can really deep dive through any industry and see if it'd be a good fit for you. I think different recruiters have different personality types that also fit certain industries better than others. And you'll only be able to tell that once you start speaking to candidates within the space. Is my personality type a good fit for these types of individuals that I am working with? And I feel like I have been lucky to pick those industries where it is. I have great relationships with my candidates, great relationships with my clients. And I think that has been because I have set myself up for success from the beginning.
Mm. Can we go back to the when you sorry, my words are kind of mumbling at the moment. The Let's go back to the year that you hit 300K, Mary, when
Hmm.
you built a desk from scratch. So let's go back to the time, maybe the first month, the first couple of months for you starting there. Can you tell us what area did you choose, and what were the things that you did to start conversations? Like, who were you speaking to, and what was that kind of what was that activity like?
Yeah, of course. So that particular year, I actually started a new business. It was a startup company. So I was the third employee to that
Oh wow,
business.
wow.
And they were specializing within renewable energy. So renewable energy is huge. If you want to try and attack all of that, you'd be there for a long time.
Mm,
I was lucky in the sense of my boss said, you can choose whatever vertical you want to go into. And it's great to have that flexibility, but it also comes with a natural pressure. Am I going to pick the right industry to go into? I didn't know too much about the space. I didn't know a lot about the states at the time either. So that's where I really kind of built a list of the different industries that interest me just off the little amount that I did know, and start reaching out to candidates. I feel like when you start, I tend to find getting candidates on the phone pretty easy. I always have it as a very non-pressure conversation. I'm reaching out and working within this space. I'd love to understand your background a little bit more, what's going to be a strong fit for yourself. And I've always noticed that people within this industry and most industries love to talk about the space as well.
Mm.
So that simply was building list, identifying businesses across a number of different verticals and reaching out to candidates in that space and literally setting up for the first 2 weeks back to back conversations with candidates in the space for me to learn, for me to understand. And that way I can see what a translatable industry is, where else would be a great like full desk to have. So that's kind of how that worked out. And it was intimidating. It was, am I choosing the right industry to go into? But I feel research can only get you so far without speaking to these people and seeing what interests you. And then once you have that, you can really put the time from a commercial standpoint of, is there enough jobs in this space? Who's hiring? What's the funding looking like? And then once you've gathered all of that information, that'll then start you building out a full strategy of how you're going to attack and approach this market.
Love what that. Did you land on, by the way, Mary? So you in renewables, what did you figure out that you're like, oh, this is probably where I'm going to have the most fun and the most success? What did you land on out of interest?
Yeah, so I chose the renewable natural gas market.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know if you guys know too much about it.
Tiny
It's
bit,
essentially, yeah, I'll just give like a full overview.
No, please do, yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially a technology where you can take waste, organic waste specifically, and actually produce a renewable gas. This is used the exact way that natural gas is. So it can be used to power our homes, put back to our pipelines. So it's looking at sustainability from a two-pronged approach. You are preventing waste from going into a landfill, but you are also then producing a byproduct that can be used from a renewable energy source. Crazy industry. When I was younger, I didn't think I'm going to build a business off this, but absolutely love the space. It's growing. There's great people in it. So that's what I ended up landed on.
That's awesome. It must be nice to know that like the people you place are actually making the planet better as well, like quite immediately. Do you know what I mean? That's quite a cool feeling.
It really is.
I've got a few nitty gritty questions, Mary. I want to go into because I just really want to get into the world of you starting a desk from scratch because I feel like there's some absolute gold in this. How were you getting candidates on the phone? I know you said it was quite easy, but like at that point you didn't have much of a reputation or a presence, I'm guessing, in that space. So how are you getting complete strangers on the phone at that first starting point? How are you getting candidates on the phone, if you don't mind me asking?
No, of course. I feel like a strategy a lot of recruiters do will kind of speak about jobs that they may have or they might have coming up. I completely steer clear from that. Mine is a more of an honest approach with these candidates of it's everything's personalized that I do. So once I've identified a market and I identify people within the space, it's utilizing LinkedIn really heavy or just picking up the phone. I'm a specialist in your area. Really like your background at X business, seeing that you've done built these projects or you've worked on these facilities. I'd love to understand if you were to make a move. I try and have it as a non-pressure conversation. Appreciate you might not be actively looking right now, but I want to be able to touch back base with you with roles that are going to be of interest or when that time does come. And I have just had huge success at getting people on the phone, discussing myself as being a specialist, not trying to pressure people to move jobs, more of just then an introduction chat, what's going to be right for you moving forward, and letting them see the benefit of having a conversation with me and giving me their time is where I've genuinely had a lot of success. I feel personalized messages for me are always a lot better. And it's something I really do try to do. I think we are naturally, especially with new AI tools, bombarded with bulky messages that you know are getting sent to yourself and 300 other people. So I think taking the time to have that more personalized approach with people, I have just found huge success to get candidates on the phone.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like as we get more obsessed with AI, it's personalization, true personalization is going to just win every time.
Yeah,
So
I
interesting.
agree.
So open, honest, transparent, authentic messages to candidates with no offer necessarily, which is awesome. But they're just willing to give you their time and talk about themselves. Let's go back to, so you've got like maybe 5 or 6 different areas that you could potentially be focusing on. How many candidates are you is it an open kind of more organic process into how many candidates you're speaking to per area, or were you like, I want to speak to 20 candidates at least before I make my mind up on an area? Like what number are you putting on it until you think you have enough information?
It was definitely more organic,
Okay.
because I could say, for example, you've built out 6 different areas that you think could be of interest to yourself. You start speaking to individuals, you have great conversations, but you feel there's not a huge passion that you have in there. Or when following up with a bit of research, there's not a lot of funding going within that space.
Mm.
So I feel like if you set yourself a number, I'm going to have 20 conversations with candidates, you might get to conversation 2 or 3 and decide, actually, this isn't a space that I'm interested in, or this isn't a space that's growing, or I feel that I would find it a massive benefit in, or I could add value to. So I kind of kept that a little bit more fluid
Mm.
into the conversations, how many that I would be having. And then it would naturally whittle itself, of course, down when you'd say, okay, this isn't right for me. I've done a little bit more research into this space. So naturally you just end up having more conversations with, and you'd feel yourself doing more outreach into them industries that you were interested in. You wanted to know more, which then would naturally reflect on how you would choose your industry. So I'd say not to be too rigid, because again, I think it comes back to a mindset. If you say you're going to have 20 conversations, then you only have 5 and want to move on, I think that's you not doing something that you said you were going to do. So I like to keep that a little bit more fluid,
Mm.
and just see what is interesting me more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense, and it's fascinating that because it's so important. You have to enjoy and be interested in the area that you're working in, and if that's not coming naturally, then I can't imagine spending 3, 4, 5 years like going deeper into. So the main things you're looking for, I guess, just to summarize, Mary, interest. Like you have to be interested in the conversations and like the things that they're talking about, the nuances of the
hmm
sector, funding, I'm guessing, number of jobs available. Like what, maybe I've missed a couple, but what are the most important things that you want to hear? So let's say interest is covered. What are the other things that you want to hear to be like, I think this might be a good opportunity?
Yeah. So I feel like naturally, if obviously once you've got that interest, you then go on, see how many jobs, how many businesses are in this space. And that can be done so simply through using LinkedIn, obviously speaking to candidates, generating leads from candidates. Where else are you interviewing? Who's growing? Who do you know in the space? That's great. So naturally covering off those areas. I think geography as well is also really important, especially being in the States. It's obviously massive country. You want to make sure that it's in a space that is a little bit maybe more accessible to yourself. You can obviously work over in California, but if it has nothing on the East Coast, that might not be a strong fit for myself being in Florida. So looking at geography for yourself. And then also as well, kind of size of fees that you want to go into. Obviously, as recruiters, we all want to make sure that we are working with the top fees to really understanding that. Final thing I think is important to mention as well, how many other recruiters are currently working in this space?
Mm.
And I think that's interesting to look at. That can be really simply worked out. If you find an interest in this space, you look at every other recruiter is also in this space. It's super saturated. It's not going to be
Mm.
a strong market for you to go into. Or what's a more up and coming industry that maybe don't have a lot of competitors in there? I think that's also a really important area to look at.
Yeah, so interesting. Such a good point. I wonder how many recruiters actually take. My feeling is there's a lot of recruiters that were, correct if I'm wrong, kind of thrown into a sector from their first job,
Yeah.
and they've gotten so used to it that it doesn't matter if the market is like stagnant or declining. They'll kind of keep working it because that's what they know, if you know what I mean.
hmm
And so that's the trap I feel like a lot of recruiters fall into. It's like, and I can imagine it's really difficult. Like if you've got 10 years of knowledge in one area, to then pivot to a brand new desk must be quite tough. But you, I guess you're living proof, Mary, that it's possible quite quickly as well.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Maybe so getting to 300K year one, brand new desk, really impressive. Um, how did you win business, Mary? I'm really interested. Maybe it's a little bit different to how you're winning business now. Maybe it's very similar, but I'm wondering in that year 1 and 2 from 300 to 600, how are you winning roles?
hmm So my main way from a business development strategy, it is 100% video messages. So again,
Wow.
I touched a little bit earlier on personalization. I think we can personalize emails. Great. I love to cold call. I think it is becoming more challenging to get through to people. It still should be something that is a priority. But where I feel I have had my most success is personalized video messages. This has actually been something that I've done day one in recruitment. So I was lucky enough, the business that I started off as a graduate, they were very, very passionate about utilizing video technology. And it
Mm.
was something that was a KPI that we had to do. And trust me, when I started with video messages, they are intimidating. You're worried, how does this look? How does this come across? You very quickly learn that being authentic and being yourself and sometimes stumbling is absolutely fine. And it can even add more personality to the video.
Mm.
Um, but video messages for me, from a business development standpoint, have just really dominated my BD side of my career. And that's actually been from day one. Every single desk I've built, I've
Wow.
just had huge success. So it's shown that it's not just specific industries that they work in. Every desk I've built so far has had great traction from video messages.
Love that. What software do you use out of interest, Mary? We're big on Loom. We've used Loom, but there's a few other recruiters that use Loom. But I'm curious, what software do you use?
So when I started, I used Oddro.
Cool.
And then I have actually touched on Hintro as well. Um, where I have my most success, I think this is especially being in the States, I now send video messages directly through a LinkedIn chat.
Mm.
And why I've found more success there, it's not a link that you're sending.
Yeah.
People don't feel nervous to click on the link. There is cons against that. You can't look at how long people have watched your video for or how many clicks it has got. But my mindset towards that, I would rather people be clicking it, maybe getting business and not knowing how many long they've watched it for. Then I think, especially in the States, people are worried. There's obviously so many spam emails that are out there to sometimes click on something that they don't know. So time that I've been here, I simply just use the LinkedIn Recruiter app and send a video directly through there, and people always click on it.
Yeah, interesting. I went for a phase of sending so many videos, and I tried Looms, and as soon as I switched to LinkedIn native, it was like night and day
Mhm.
difference.
It's
And I
insane.
agree. Like you're right. You don't have the same metrics, but you just get more responses. So you're like, okay, well, it's working, so might as well continue.
Yeah,
And then I switched to voice notes. Actually, and have you tested voice notes, Mary, at all? Have you like
I
compared voice
have.
notes to video? And I'm guessing video still comes up on top for you.
100% video does
Interesting.
come on top.
Mm.
But no, did trial voice notes. I always like as well. I think with having an accent, I think sometimes it is better as well to kind of have that video on there, but definitely having much better traction with videos than voice notes.
Cool. I'm going to put you on the spot, Mary. What are you saying in these videos? Like, what is the typical script that you send to a decision maker? Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I would love to know that.
Do you know what, Sam? I keep it super simple. So
That's
there's
cool.
a couple of different ways I'll reach out to people. And it's nothing new. I'm not inventing the wheel. It's obviously spec-ins, investment, anything news wise that you see, or you see someone's posted something on LinkedIn. But 9 out of 10 of my videos are simple introduction messages.
Mm.
And it's something as simple as, hi, my name is Mary Kennedy. I'm reaching out from Anova. I'm one of the partners here. I always like to address that a video message is a slightly different way to reach out as well.
Mm.
So something as simple as, I don't suppose you've had many of these videos before, but I want to do something to stand out. Then obviously going into detail about what I do, and then I will always try and relate it to them. That can be something as simple as, I can see we've got a mutual connection. I actually work with so and so at this business and help them do X, Y, Z. I could be like reaching out to someone and I've actually supported their direct competitor scale their national sales team. Discussing that, I've done that. But I'd say you've only really got 30 to 60 seconds maximum for these videos. So
Yeah.
keeping it super simple. This is who I am. This is what I do. And then one personalization point on why I am looking to connect with them personally.
Awesome thing. Love that. And are you spending loads of time on the list here, Mary, or is it quite a broad list and you kind of mixture between playing the numbers but also being as personalized as possible?
I honestly feel video messages are quicker for me now than
Mm.
other ways of outreach. I think once you spend a lot of time doing it, you can be getting a video message out in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah, yeah.
is a pretty quick way to be doing business development. Where sometimes for me, I think you can overthink. If you're writing an email to someone, we naturally overthink what we're writing. We'll look and say, is that going to get it? Should I write, how are you at the beginning? Like all of these things that recruiters will say, what works best. With a video message, I am just a one taken and done now type of person. So I have found that my numbers and my outreach is a lot higher actually utilizing this process instead
Mm.
of actually other ways. It will always be either a specific cadence that I'm working in, so I'll have a pretty clean list, or I always make sure I am connecting in with people in my space. So that could even be coming in the morning, see who's connected with me either yesterday afternoon or overnight, and just doing introductions to those people. So it is a pretty quick process that people could definitely add.
Awesome.
Awesome. Oh, I
And
just
oh,
have
one
go
quick
ahead, Sam.
question, Ben. I'm going to forget it. Um, the because the thing that caught my attention, Mary, is you always try and add that personalization piece.
Hmm.
And I'm just curious, and you might not have the answer to this, but is there one personalization piece that if you capture on their profile or that you notice, you're like, I'm definitely using that? Is it the competitor? Is it like we're connected to the same person? Is it I'm down the road from you like 5 miles? What is the personalization piece that you feel is like the strongest, if there is one?
Yeah, great question. I think for me, it definitely depends on the person. So I know I give out
Cool.
a couple of examples there, like if we've got a mutual connection, that one, it obviously could only really work if they strongly know that person. They could maybe go and get a reference. And if they did, that's a perfect one to use. They can give
Mm,
a call. Have you worked with Mary? I feel like I do try and make it as related to what I think is going to be most successful. So if
mm,
I'm working with someone who is a direct competitor, I know these guys do come up against each other. That'll definitely be the example that
cool.
I would use.
Yeah.
If it's something where maybe they're in the same industry, but they might not know each other and they might not compete, then I would use a different approach.
Cool.
And if they've posted something relevant on their LinkedIn, I try and use that one probably the most because
Cool.
I feel like, regardless of what industry people are in, posting stuff on LinkedIn can be intimidating. I feel like it's great for someone to say, read your recent post about X,
Mm,
really enjoyed this. I think it feels great to receive a compliment, regardless of if you're in sales or you're working as a VP of operations. We all know it can be intimidating to actually write some of this stuff and get your content out. So that's probably be my main one. If they have posted something that I've read, whether it's an article or just an interesting post, I would reference that because I think it's a great compliment, starting relationship builder.
So
Great tip,
interesting.
Mary. That's
When
awesome.
everyone comes into the DMs and says like, if anyone says, "Oh, Ben, love your content," I'm like instantly this fills me with this like warm feeling. I'm like, "Oh, thank you so
Yeah.
much." Yeah. So yeah, I can imagine like for anyone, it must be a good opener. Um, so that kind of that intro that you were talking about now, Mary, that's been the needle mover for starting conversations for you. Am I right in saying that?
100%. And
Awesome.
this is also great for candidates as well.
Mm,
Um, the amount of candidates I've got on the phone, or I get a lot of people come back to me saying, I've never seen this before. Now, I haven't invented video messages. I know
mm,
a lot of recruiters do it. You've got technology that does it. Sarah she used to work for Pareto. I know she put a lot of content around that as well, which is why I transitioned from Odro to doing it directly because of one of her
mm,
posts. But I feel like there is still that fear around people doing it. So candidates and clients will both come back to me and say, I have never seen this before. This is something so different. And I think that can be really nice as well for reaching out to more senior candidates for a role that you might be working. You're demonstrating how you are different. Because it's great to say on a new business call, I am different, like this is how I work. But to actually be demonstrating that you will work on that more personalized, different outreach approach, I think has been super successful business development, but also candidate acquisition as well.
yeah, it's such a great point, and me and Ben have found the same thing. Is like the approach and how they feel about that from a first impression is almost more important than not more important, but as important as what you say, because it kind
Yeah.
of starts the relationship as, oh, these guys, exactly like you said, Mary, these guys are different, and we've had exactly the same thing. So it's really, really interesting. And how many, like, I'm sure this varies depending how busy you are, Mary, in priorities, but like, if you had a cadence of how many videos you're sending to make sure you hit the numbers and get the responses you're looking for, how many would
Hmm.
descend on a daily basis, do you think, or weekly basis?
Daily basis, I always try and do a 1 hour sprint of video
Mm,
messages.
Nice,
I
nice.
think that's like a strong number. Obviously, that's going to naturally fluctuate how many you can get out in a day. I could probably do, I'd say, anywhere between 50 and 20 video messages
nice.
Oh,
daily
nice.
to try and hit that. The only thing that can be a little bit difficult if you're not connected with them on LinkedIn. That's when obviously you can trial Loom or you can trial Odro, and that's definitely where I would use that. I still do have access to Odro. So if people aren't connected on LinkedIn, I can't do that. I will do that through an email, but they can just take a little bit longer because you need to structure an email around your video
Yeah.
to try and get them to click on it. But from just direct LinkedIn messages, I'd say, yeah, I can get through quite a few in an hour.
Do you get any good responses from email, or is the bulk on LinkedIn, Mary, out of interest?
Bulk's always on LinkedIn for
Yeah,
me.
cool, because they don't need to click that link,
Because you
same
don't
kind of
need to click
concept.
the link.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Cool.
even found that, interestingly enough, when I worked just solely with Odro, I'd A/B test LinkedIn and email, and I would still always get more responses on LinkedIn. I don't know if
Interesting.
it feels different for them. I know it comes up as a thumbnail.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if sometimes it can maybe go into spam on email as
Mm,
well.
mm,
LinkedIn, you know that they are getting that message. A follow-up as well, it's obviously on the same chain. They
yeah.
already have your video, you can do a follow-up, they know you're a real person. So I think that's why I personally have a lot more success using LinkedIn
Awesome.
for video.
And I've got to ask about the follow-up. Does that make a difference? Is most of the bulk of the success on the first video? Can you talk a bit about that, if that's okay,
Yeah, of
Mary?
course. I would say it's 50-50. I
Oh,
do
really?
get,
Wow.
yeah, 100%. I feel I am one of them. I think follow-ups are so important. I am big on a cadence and a process to follow. But do have great success off a one-off video message. The follow-up to me, I would say, yeah, it is 50-50 for like my
Wow.
success coming back to. So that is just as important. I never really write anything about what's in the video in my follow-up. My follow-ups are super simple. Hi, wanted to see if you've had a chance to review this. I don't want to kind of give away too much on what's in the video. I want to direct them to watch it.
Cool. And it's literally the follow-up's like, hey, did you get a chance to watch the video? Question mark. It's like as simple as something like that.
Super simple.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really cool. And then is that one message, or are you following up multiple times with different channels, Mary, or is it as simple as kind of following up on the same way, like that on LinkedIn
Mhm.
multiple times?
Yeah, I'm definitely a multi-channeled approach. So if they don't come back to my video, I'm cold calling them. And it's naturally, I feel, a nicer way to walk into a cold call once you've sent that video message.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I definitely use all approaches. I will use email, then LinkedIn, the video, and then cold calling as well. So 100% I will try all different touch points.
Okay, awesome. And it may be more organic for you, Mary, but so it's video first on LinkedIn, then I'm guessing it's follow-up message on LinkedIn. Is that like
Hmm.
24 hours later or 48 hours later, or
Yeah,
how
usually
yeah,
anywhere between 24 and 48.
cool. And then after that, is it cold call or email, or what's the kind of order that you typically have it in terms of the channels that you use?
I think for me, it depends on my business development strategy that I'm using.
Okay.
So if I am doing a specific candidate campaign, I will actually build this out. I've used Sourcewell pretty heavily. I've now just started with Loxo. I'm trying to use
Cool.
their automation tool. So for me, with them, it will always go email first, but I will connect in with them because I feel like you need them to be connected in with you. So
Mhm.
it'll go email, follow up, then cold call. Then video, then cold call, and I'm trying to like mix them around. I'm still trying to see what works better, but just using all of the different multi-channeled approaches in different orders. Whereas if I am just connecting in with someone for an introduction, then that's where it'll be video message first. So it very much depends on my business development strategy and what approach I am doing.
Interesting. But I'm guessing so on everything, the first video message has probably got the highest response rate on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then if there was a highest kind of follow up, would it be the second message on LinkedIn? Is it the cold call or the email? Or again, does that vary massively?
I'd say it varies. I have huge success with cold calls after the video message. So I have
Interesting.
trialed seeing which way is better because sometimes I know, obviously, a lot of the time we are going through to voicemail now. I will always leave a voicemail and I will tell them that I am leaving them a video message. So it's
Mm,
just kind of like flipping them over. And I'm still personally trialing to see which one works better all of the time. And
mm,
I do see a mixtured approach. There's not one's clearly winning over the other. But I feel like they go really nicely hand in hand. If you do a cold call, you don't get through to them, you leave them a voicemail, you're directing them to your video message.
mm,
Vice versa, if you're sending that video message first, following up with a cold call, you can reference what it is that you've spoke about. So I don't feel like there's a right or a wrong. I've seen success from both ways. But I do really like, because they're both very personalized, obviously, approaches. So I've seen huge success kind of coupling these together.
Interesting. Awesome. Love that. Yeah, videos, cold calling. I can see that being super effective. Um, Curious what the difference is, because you've gone from working in the UK originally, Mary, to working in the US. Have you
Hmm.
noticed a difference in terms of the culture, the responses, the way people receive information? Has it been just like virtually the same for you, or have you noticed any differences between working in the US market?
I've noticed a huge difference, actually. How I have had to kind of approach calls, I think, is very different.
Mm.
I've started doing some more permission-based openers since I've been in the US, and I find them really, really successful. That is something as simple as, appreciate we haven't spoken before. Can I take 30 seconds to explain why I've called? I've had one person say no. And I think that's pretty good stats for obviously being here for 2.5 years. I think
Wow.
by having that permission based opener, it then allows you, you've got that 30 seconds, you can take a breath, you can explain why you have called. Whereas in the UK, I didn't really have to do that as much. It wasn't even something that I personally trialed. So I'm, yeah, finding massive success. Again, I don't know if it comes down to an accent. I want to obviously make sure that I am speaking slower, say where I'm calling from. Um, but for anyone kind of cold calling in this space, I would definitely say to try permission based openers. I've definitely had massive success there.
Interesting. Have you found them to be? I don't want to kind of like say anything too negative about the Brits, because I am British and I love the Brits, but I feel like the US, the difference between US in my mind is like they are way more ambitious. Like, I think they appreciate recruiters. I've heard that a
Yeah,
lot. Like, they actually see recruiters as partners that can, who, people that can grow and help them reach their goals faster, which you guys absolutely can. Um, yeah, I feel like Brits have a much harder time kind of justifying recruitment in the UK.
yeah.
Whereas in the US, I feel like it's kind of a given. Of course, you're a recruiter. Of course, we need help from a recruiter. How have you found that, Mary?
Do you know what? Identical to what you've
Mm,
just said. I
mm.
feel like I did actually research the stats, and I'm not going to say them because I haven't got the exact ones to quote. But the amount of recruitment firms in the UK, for obviously such a small country, in comparison to how many there are, I think there's about half in the US, and obviously it's a lot bigger over
Wow.
here. So I don't think you're not the sixth, seventh person to
Yeah.
ring them that hour.
Yeah.
So it definitely, don't get me wrong, there's still times where they've had cold calls off different industries. They still don't want to speak to you. I'm not saying recruitment's super easy over in the States, but we are definitely viewed differently. I always say to people, if you can master recruitment in the UK, it is so competitive, then you are usually set up for pretty strong success when coming over to
Mm.
the States. For that exact reason, people do see you as partners. People really do see the value in recruiters. So it's been a nice change.
That's so
Awesome.
interesting. And how about personally? Like, you basically picked up your life and then moved it somewhere else. What's that been like, Mary? Has there been any difficult moments? Has it all been like sunshine and rainbows? Like, what's that process been like?
Oh, really honest, it has not been sunshine and rainbows. It is so different. Now it is. I've been here 2.5 years. To try and come out to set up a new desk whilst you're also trying to figure out how America works, how to get a social, how to get a bank account, where am I living? You've
Mm,
got no credit score to get a car. It's a lot to try and do
wow.
it once.
Yeah.
Um, but now I've kind of got all that personal stuff. It's great just to be able to focus on your business side.
Mm,
Um, but definitely the best decision that I have personally done. I absolutely love the people out here. I think the culture's great. Weather's great in Florida. So great decision. But it's not easy to
yeah.
transition and do that at the beginning.
What's been the biggest struggle moving there, and what's your favorite part about living in? Because you're in Orlando, did you say? Sorry, Mary.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the biggest adjustment? Maybe not struggle, just adjustment. And what's something you love the most living there? I'm just curious.
So I'll start off with the positives, what I love the most. I think it's great that you can get on a plane and you can visit anywhere in the States super easy.
That's
I
true.
think that's nice. And every state is genuinely like a different country. It's
Mm,
obviously
wow.
the weather's different, the people are different. I think if you are someone who loves to travel, then America's great. The worst thing about coming here, everything is different and you do have to basically learn from scratch. And there's unfortunately not someone who just can tell you. You make American friends, of course. They can't tell you how to do things because it's different when you're coming in on a visa. So the process of everything, it's constantly a learning curve. Something that would be super easy for you to do in the States. Even for example, I had to get my driving license address changed in England. That would be super easy. We know how to do it. We know how it works. It ended up being an absolute nightmare me trying to do it here.
Mm.
But you learn once you've done it once. Now I
Yeah,
know. And for other Brits that come over, I can say, you've got to do X, Y, Z. You need this form. So
yeah,
that's probably my least favorite thing. I don't like not knowing how to do
yeah.
things.
Mm.
And you are starting again.
Yeah, cool. That's really awesome. And yeah, I've met so many people from the States that haven't actually come outside of America. And I can understand why,
Mhm.
because it's so
Yeah.
big. And like you said, every state is like a different country. So you have everything on your doorstep just to go and travel. It's awesome. I'd love to just go back to, I mean, Sam tend to do this. So sorry, Mel, we're kind of going back and forth
No,
on
it's
the
okay.
timeline. But you went from 300K year one to 600K year two. Like you doubled, which is insane. Like,
Mhm.
how did you do that so quickly? Did you just do double the volume? Did you increase your fees? Like, how did you go from double in year two? Because that's insane.
Honestly, I didn't change too much. So I have a
Mm,
pretty set process that I work to. I know it works. I'll tweak certain things, I'll trial new things, but I know for me what works. So I feel like one of my best skill sets, it's definitely business development. I feel like to be a strong recruiter, you always need to be doing new business development, expanding your client base. But something I think is equally as important is really being obsessed with excellence for your
mm,
clients and being the best that you can possibly be. So I built at obviously year one, I had to come in, I had to hit business development hard to scale as many clients as I possibly can. But actually do what I say I'm going to do, be different to other recruiters. And you'll naturally find, say if you're working with the VP of operations, they'll then introduce you to the VP of sales. You're
mm,
starting to get more out of clients that you're working with whilst you're still doing those business development activities. So
mm,
that's how I scaled and how I doubled. Really being obsessed with excellence, really making sure what you say you're going to do for clients, you actually do, you follow up on. And I think that naturally as well, once you do that for clients, you're doing that for candidates, you're getting better candidate responses, you're getting referrals. I fill so many jobs off referrals within my space, which I am really blessed about. I work with great people but I think that just again provides an excellence from a candidate standpoint as well.
mm.
So honestly, I wouldn't say I did anything super different year two. I just continued to do what I did. And then that naturally, working within quite a close knit space, you get your referrals, you get your introductions, your existing clients do give you more whilst you're also bringing on new clients.
It's
Awesome.
fascinating. The interesting thing in my mind is like I think every recruiter has the intention of, oh, I want to be excellent, if that makes sense. But
Hmm.
obviously, excellence is is different in everyone's eyes. Like what I think is excellent might be different to what you think is Mary, and vice versa. So if we were trying to replicate that process of excellence, which I know is difficult because I think it's a mindset thing, a lot of it.
Yeah.
But like, what were some of the things that you were doing? Like, if we could put it into a process that allowed you to perform at that excellent level to get that many referrals, do you think? Like, what were the needle movers? Do you think?
For me, I am very much a believer on exclusivity and retain recruitment. It's how I personally work at my best. And that allows me to really dedicate time into searches, understand the full search, the talent pool sizes, and I can be giving that data back to my clients. I'm not saying every single role I get on, I'm going to fill overnight. Some searches are extremely difficult. There might only be 3 people that can do the role. But by having that commitment from your clients, whether that's an exclusivity or a retained agreement, you can really dedicate time and prioritize a search to get that data, to get that understanding and communicate that back to your clients. I'm a very high touch recruiter. I want to make sure I'm communicating with them as much as possible. I feel like a lot of time in recruitment, people can ostrich themselves, and if it's not going right, that they cannot communicate that to clients, and clients think,
Mm,
what's going on with the search? What's happening? I like to over communicate. If I am struggling to fill a role for any reason, picking up the phone and saying, right, okay, I want to let you know where we're up to with the search. I've identified X amount of people who can do this role in this region. I've reached out to every single person. We've had this feedback. This is why we may be struggling. I don't feel like we're here to be people pleasers. We're here to support companies. We're here to support clients, and they're experts in what they do, and we're meant to be experts in what we do. So I feel like being able to have difficult conversations will make you a better recruitment partner, of saying the salary isn't high enough. We need to look at remote options. We might need to look at a slightly more junior level. Being able to call your clients, you've got that good relationship with them. You're very, very honest in how a process is going. And it's not always what we want to obviously tell them. You want to say, found five great grade A candidates that can send you over straight away. But unfortunately, that's not how recruitment works. So I think for me, that is really making sure that I am working to the best of my ability, full transparency, full honesty. And then they'll say, right, okay, Mary, completely understand. Let's do these tweaks and make that role fillable.
Love that.
Awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah, really cool.
I mean, there's the interesting point. It's straight away. I mean, there's some really awesome golden nuggets you gave there. But the first thing that jumped out at me was obviously the exclusivity retain piece, because instantly you're gonna have a better chance of providing a better service and filling the role than someone who's on a contingent basis.
Yeah.
How I know there's tons of recruiters out there who are still on contingent that really struggle selling exclusivity and or retained. What's been your best way of getting that agreement with clients, Mary?
hmm I actually did a retained search training with Hannah Keith. I want to say about 2.5, 3 years ago. And I remember at the beginning it was discussing you need to believe in why retainers and exclusivity is better. If you don't believe in it, you can never sell that.
Mm.
And I really truly do believe I am the best in my process when I'm working exclusive or retained. I can dedicate more time, more priority to a role, and I know I'm going to do a much better service. And I think being able to actually explain to them the benefits of working with us and really truly believing why retained is better. I have sold so many more retainers than before that. If you don't really know why a retainer is better, you will never be able to sell one. A lot of the times they are more expensive, or you are asking for a down payment, sometimes on a client that you've never worked with. If you don't believe in it, you're not going to be able to express why they are so much better. So I think that's really the first thing that you do need to look at, understand how you're going to work better. I think the second point is a lot of people are scared to walk away from business. And I
Mm.
think this is something that I put into my process that has definitely been a game changer from when I was first a graduate and doing business development. If you have on 20 contingent roles and they've got two, three, four other agencies on it, that's a lot of work to have. You're not going to be having time to do new business development, to be expanding your desk. But at the same time, you are rushing. I feel, running a quite a messy process of just trying to get a candidate over as quick as possible. Whereas if you take a step back and think, okay, I'm only going to work exclusive positions now, I'm going to be comfortable to say no to clients. Firstly, I think you'd negotiate a lot better. You're not afraid
Mm.
to walk away from that and say, I'm going to do an injustice on my service if I sign your contingent terms because I've got four other clients I'm working retained with. Your role is not going to be a priority to me. And I am as straightforward and honest as that.
Mm.
If you still struggle with your two, three, four other agencies, come back to me. We can maybe entertain it, doing a more of a retained model, and I can walk through why that's more successful. So I'd definitely say those 2 points is knowing the benefits of retainers and exclusivity, really believing that yourself, or you can never sell that. And then the second one is do not be afraid to walk away from someone that says no, because you can focus on finding them clients that will give you that commitment.
Love it. Golden tips.
Love
Absolutely
that.
love it.
Yeah, and the belief thing is so important, isn't it? It's like something that you cannot train, but you absolutely feel on a call or in any environment. If you're pitching a role to a candidate as well, like you have to believe in it, otherwise it will it won't come through on the sales pitch or the call. And it's so interesting.
hmm
Not many people talk about belief when you're selling retain, but it's interesting that you mention it. And knowing the benefits is a good one. Have you noticed that there's certain benefits when you pitch this when you're pitching the benefits, Mary, or you're stating the benefits? Have you noticed there's certain benefits that clients really kind of pay attention to, that they care
hmm
about? Like, are there certain ones that really kind of get them to sit up and pay attention?
Yes, there's two different types of retainers that I will sell. I will sell more of that deposit down. It's like an exclusivity, but you got to deposit down. And then on top of that, you'll get myself. I've got a research team who will work on that. But you are top priority. People like um, solution.
Mm.
What I find people really like is the full retain model, where it's obviously a third, a third, a third, and then you are getting full access into data, what other companies are paying. I think people are naturally nosy. I think they like to be able to visualize this. I filled a retainer recently that was going to be working in a new division of their business, a new division they didn't know anything about. They wanted to see what that market looked like. So that was a huge selling point for these guys. Something else with retainers, I always like to have at least weekly update calls. I think searches where they always know where the process is, who you're speaking to, and having that full visibility is another great pro for them. A lot of the times when businesses decide to hire, they need someone yesterday. So they really need to know because they might have to tell their boss, this is where the search is up to. This is when we're getting in this person. This is when we can start this project. Being able to track that full search process for me, I think is, especially in my market, really beneficial.
Love that. So what I got from that is, and this is in the data, so that's interesting. So I'm guessing as you say, people are nosy. They want to see what their competitors are doing. They want to know what's going on in the market. So the data is a really interesting point. And then the speed and the weekly updates, the fact that they're going to get more touch points, better service. Curious in the data point, what is there any, again, I'm not sure if you'll be able to go into too much detail, but what are the data points that they're interested in typically, Mary? Is it around competitors? Like what are the kind of juicy bits of data that you're getting for them that they're interested in?
So it depends what role that I'm recruiting for, but I can walk you through a recent retained search I did was a sales position. They were very interested in knowing commission models from
Mm.
competitors. And that was again because it was a newer area for these guys. So they hadn't sat within this specific vertical of their business before. So they talked to me about their commission model. I kind of give them a little bit of guidance of what I've seen in the space, but they wanted to know exactly what is going to attract the best talent, what is going to get the real hungry hunters coming into the business. So that was an area that they personally asked. We want to know what commission models are like for every other business. So I feel like that's important. From working with startup firms as well, I think a lot of different data points can be really interesting for them because again, it is a newer area. Benefit schemes, what base salaries people are paying, are people getting equity or not? So there's a lot of different data points that people ask for. Sales roles predominantly, they will always ask what commission everyone else is given.
Interesting. How are you collecting this data as well, Mary? Is it the researcher that goes off and does this? Or is it a collection of like the candidates you've spoken to, the different companies and researching? How are you providing the best data possible out of interest?
So it is a mixtured approach, just as you've said.
Cool.
My researcher will go out and identify every single business for me that is within that space where a competitor is going to come from and compile that list for me to essentially call through. When having conversations with these individuals, even if they're not right for any reason, I make sure I'm always getting something kind of
Mm.
out of those conversations to be able to provide that data
Cool.
for my clients.
Awesome. Interesting. I can't believe how quick this podcast has been. It's flown by, Mary. Thank you so much for coming on. I'd like to just thank you for joining us. We've had absolute golden nuggets from you. I always like to ask one final question before we end the pod, which is, and you've given us plenty, so don't feel the pressure, but let's imagine someone's looking at you, Mary, right now. They've been like, wow, Mary smashed it. She's done 300K first year, 600K. She's done 62K in 5 weeks of her brand new business. What can I learn from her to help me succeed? Is there anything that we haven't talked about in today's session that might help another recruiter to become more successful at what they do?
100%. Again, I'm going to go back to the first question that we spoke about today. I think everything is mindset. I think if you believe that you offer a great service, if you know your value as a recruiter, I think you'll be able to build and scale and get the fees and get the commitment that you are looking for. So consistently reminding yourself the value that you are giving to these clients, how good you are, the work that you do put in, and make sure that you are just improving every single day. I think that is a huge game changer. So everything, positive mindset, always growing, always trying to develop.
I love that. I actually just want to end it one little thing because I feel like it might help.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if have you ever tried hypnosis, Mary?
I have not actually.
Okay, cool. I just want to help. I just want to give this nugget to other people because
Hmm.
it's helped me massively, and it's kind of out of the box mindset thing that not many people have done. So I tried RTT hypnotherapy. So there's different types of hypnotherapy out there, but I tried something called RTT hypnotherapy, and it was brilliant. And without going into too much detail, what they do is you have a session with a hypnotherapist, and then they get you this recording, and you listen to it basically as much as you can, but ideally once a day. I do it twice a day. I do it once in the morning, once in the evening. And I can absolutely say that if you don't have like I didn't really have a strategy that was consistent for mindset. So I kind of defaulted to programming. I was like, how can
Hmm.
I just program my mind for positivity? And I didn't know if it would work or not, but someone said RTT and I tested it and it's been absolutely game changing. Every single time I stick to the cadence of this particular recording, it has a massive difference with my confidence, my mindset, and it's just a really interesting method that I would love other people to encourage to just test and see because it's relatively low cost. And, if you're struggling with discipline or confidence, this is a route that can absolutely change the game for you. So I just wanted to end with that. I'm not sure if you had anything to add to that, Mary.
Love that. No, that sounds great. Thank you so much, Ben. I will definitely give that a go. I think and I'm sure all recruiters can relate to this. It's easy enough to say I have a positive mindset coming each day, but recruitment it is up and down and it is
Mm,
roller coasters. So any additional tools that we can share to all keep trying to have that positive mindset and every day stay at that level is yeah, would be great.
Mary, thank you so much for coming on today. You've been amazing to speak to. Really appreciate it.
Thank you both so much for having me. It's yeah, I've absolutely loved it.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to this episode. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. Tune in for another episode next week, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon. Peace and love.